Now we saw in chapter 2 that Nebuchadnezzar saw a great image. The image head was of gold, the breast and the arms were of silver, the belly and the thighs of brass, the legs of iron, the feet part of iron and part of clay. We saw that a stone came down from heaven and smote the image on the feet and brake all the metals together, and they became like chaff before the summer threshing floors, and the wind carried them away. That stone became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. That was interpreted in chapter 2, beginning with verse 38 and 39, as Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom, symbolized by the head of gold, Medo-Persian Empire, symbolized by the breast and arms of silver, the belly and the thighs of brass, the Grecian Empire, and the fourth metal symbolized the old Roman Empire, which was the empire in the days of Jesus Christ and the apostles. We also saw that in the days of the 10 kings represented by the 10 toes on the image, the God of heaven was to set up a kingdom in the world forever, even forever and ever, in the days of those 10 kings. In other words, the stone cut out of the mountain without hands, which destroyed all those metals, it became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. That's interpreted for us as the kingdom of the God of heaven being established on earth in the days of the 10 kings represented by the 10 toes. So Daniel saw Gentile world powers from his day to the time that the God of heaven would set up a kingdom in the world. And he saw that the kingdom of the God of heaven would continue forever, even forever and ever. In chapter 7 we saw a vision of 4 beasts, diverse, one from the other. One was like a lion that had eagle's wings. The lion stood upon its feet as a man. The wings were plucked, and a man's heart was given to this beast, and it reigned for a time and passed on. A second beast, like a bear, raised itself up on one side. It had 3 ribs in the mouth of it. A voice said to it, "Arise, devour much flesh." It passed on. And a third beast like a leopard, having 4 heads and 4 wings of a fowl. It reigned for a time and passed on. And the fourth beast was like not like anything that was on earth, so it was a nondescript beast. It wasn't like a lion or a bear, a leopard or an elephant or a bulldog or anything. There wasn't anything on earth like it. So he just said it was a great, terrible looking beast, and it had great iron teeth, and its nails were of brass, and it stamped the rest of these beasts in the ground, and none could deliver those other beasts out of the hands of this fourth beast, and it reigned for a time. And then it passed away. He saw that this fourth beast had 10 horns, and among them came up another little horn, before whom 3 of the first horns were plucked up by the roots. And in that horn he saw appear eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth. And he saw that little horn speaking great things, and he saw that his look was more stout than all of his fellows. He saw that little horn conquer 3 of the 10 horns, that is, pluck them up by the roots. And that horn made war with Jesus Christ. But he was overcome and destroyed, and his body given to the burning flame. In the same vision he saw the Son of Man coming with the clouds of heaven, and that's referred to by this picture. Coming with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days. And there was given to the Son of Man dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all these kingdoms that Daniel saw in this vision of chapter 7, and interpreted for Nebuchadnezzar in the vision of chapter 2, he saw all those kingdoms being taken over by the Son of Man, whose dominion was an everlasting dominion, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. Now then, in chapter 8, we saw another vision. 2 beasts, one a ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast could stand before it. It had 2 horns, They were high. The higher horn came up last. It conquered every beast before it, and there wasn't any beast that it did not conquer for a time. Then he saw way toward the west a beast going eastward. And it was a he-goat. It had a great horn right between his eyes. He didn't even touch the ground as he went. He was just skipping along the ground. The ram was pushing westward, and the he-goat was pushing eastward. And they met. When the ram had conquered everything and came up to that he-goat, we read that the he-goat was moved with choler against him and ran into the ram in the fury of his power and stamped the ram in the ground. And none could deliver the ram out of the hands of the he-goat. The he-goat became very strong. And when he was strong, the notable horn between his eyes was broken off. And for it, in its place, growing on the head of the he-goat, there were 4 horns. Started to come right out of the same place where the notable horn was. 4 of them growing. And he said, out of one of them, out of one of the 4 horns, came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great toward the east and toward the south and toward the pleasant land. He saw that little horn making war with the hosts of heaven, cast down some of the hosts of the heavens to the earth. And he saw him place the abomination that made desolate. And he saw him magnify himself even against the prince of the host. And he practiced and prospered for a time. He even stood up against the King of Kings and came to an end when he did that. Now that little horn is the same as the little horn of chapter 7. In other words, the little horn out of the 4 horns of chapter 8 is the same as the little horn out of the 10 horns of chapter 7. We saw in chapter 7 that the 10 horns were explained to be 10 kingdoms that would be formed inside of the old Roman Empire. There are now 24 governments inside of the old Roman Empire territory. Under this red line here on the map gives you an idea of the old Roman Empire, taking in all of England, Holland, Belgium, France, Spain, Switzerland, Portugal, and Italy, Romania, Bulgaria, Albania, Yugoslavia, Greece, Turkey, Iran, Iraq, France, Jordan, Palestine, and Egypt, the northern parts of Africa. All those 24 governments are now inside the old Roman Empire territory. In chapter 7:24, those 10 horns on the 4th beast were explained to be 10 kingdoms that would be formed inside of the 4th kingdom. And if the 4th beast symbolizes the old Roman Empire, which it does, then we are to expect 10 kingdoms to be formed in the latter days inside the Roman Empire territory and not outside. Daniel 7, therefore, gives us a picture of the location of the 10 kingdoms pictured in chapter 2 and symbolized by the 10 toes on the image, and symbolized in chapter 7 by the 10 horns on the beast. Gives us the exact location of those kingdoms. Inside the Roman Empire only, not outside. If you keep that in mind in studying the book of Daniel and also the book of Revelation, everything will be very clear. You won't be running around the country trying to find some kingdoms located in places that never are mentioned in the Bible, as many men are doing today. It will give you a balance, and it will give you the truth once and forever that these kingdoms are located inside the Roman Empire. We are to conclude, therefore, that all the prophetical statements of Daniel and Revelation concerning these kingdoms are really concerning the ones that are mentioned, and not concerning the many that are not mentioned. We ought to expect the fulfillment of those prophecies in connection with kingdoms inside the Roman Empire.